Hello, I'm Archie Luxury and welcome to the program. Today I'm reviewing the book Cult Watches, The World's Enduring Classics by Michael Balflour. Michael Balflour's Cult Watches, The World's Enduring Classics. And it's a hardcover book, quite a nice size hardcover book. And it's around about the $50 US recommended retail mark. So it's a hardcover coloured book, so they're not going to be cheap. I bought it on the flea, and I didn't pay quite that much. I think it turned out to be about $50 with postage. And Cult Watches, it's an interesting book. It's an interesting book, and it looks at all the really classic models from these makers. And naturally, you'd have things like Audemars Piguet's Royal Oak. You'd have the Piguet Type 20. You'd have the Navitimer by Breitling. So it looks at these particular brands and says, what's their iconic model? And I love this type of book. I really couldn't wait for this book to arrive. And let's start the ball rolling and let's have a look here. So it's an interesting way they've done it. It is quite a classy book. And we start looking at the Audemars Piguet Royal Oak, and it's got a nice bit of history there, and it then shows you the first Royal Oak, which was the Jumbo in 1972, and it's done quite nicely. It is done very, very well there. It then goes into the Royal Oak Offshore Chrono. I suppose you could stretch that into the line there. So that's how it covers. It covers the brand and model, and I'm a bit disappointed when they said Royal Oak they didn't go just in the Royal Oak, because the Offshore is sort of, it's another diversion altogether. So I don't know whether it really deserved that type of focus there, but yeah, it's interesting. So you had, you know, about half a dozen pages there. Then you're looking at things like the blank pan moon phase. Sure, that's fair enough. You can do that. The Piguet Type 20, well, that's a fantastic. That is a fantastic chronograph. Definitely not upset about that. You can understand why they've chosen that. A little bit of Piguet history, and then they've gone into the Piguet Type 20 itself there. So yeah, that's done quite nicely, and they've then got a few little models, and they explain the Type 20. So they cover quite a lot of brands here. The Breitling, you expect, of course, the Navitimer. That is certainly a cult watch. Nice history on Breitling. It goes into some various Breitling Navitimers. Looks at some of the history, and it's very well done. I'm very happy. Boulevard Accutron, sure, I'm not a huge Boulevard fan, but that's okay. Cartier Tank, of course, that's an enduring classic, very nicely done. The Chopard Happy Diamond, sure. The Corum Coin Watch, that certainly is a classic watch. The Girard Perregaux Tourbillon, I'm not a huge Girard Perregaux fan, but that is certainly an iconic model in their lineup there. So yes, they cover it well. Hamilton Electric, again, I'm not a huge Hamilton fan. Now, why the fuck would you cover Harwood? That's something I really don't understand, why you'd cover that brand. Some of the brands they cover are really quite dog shit brands, and this is where you get a bit upset. Then you come back into IWC Pilot's Watch. Of course you'd cover that. That's an all-time classic. The Jaeger-LeCoultre Reverso, again, it's a classic. You can understand why you would cover the Reverso. It even has got the history of Jaeger-LeCoultre. It mentions the Queen's coronation, and she wore a Jaeger-LeCoultre. It's done nicely. The Longines, the Lindbergh, yes, you'd have to cover these things. Why the fuck would you cover Mundane? You know, this is the Swiss railway watch. That doesn't deserve a mention. That's just dog shit brand. Movado, Museum Watch, maybe, okay. The Omega Speedmaster, yes, that is that's a classic. You'd expect that to be covered. Panerai, sure, cover Panerai. Of course, you would expect Patek Philippe to be covered. And as I'm doing this review, of course, I'm actually wearing my Patek, and they have a 5107 on display. So yes, they cover it quite nicely, and I'm quite pleased with how they do cover Patek. It's done very well, and they've got two Pateks. One Patek, the Calatrava, isn't enough, so they've gone and covered the Nautilus, which I'd have to agree, yes, the Nautilus is a wonderful, wonderful piece from Patek Philippe, and I can well and truly understand why you do that. The Rolex Daytona, that certainly is a great piece. The Rolex Submariner, definitely. I agree 100% with a lot of the watches here. Then why would you cover Swatch? I suppose you could cover it. Tag Heuer Monaco, I'd agree with that. That is a fantastic watch. Tissot Banana watch, absolute bullshit. I don't know why you'd put Tissot here. Ulysses Nardin, yeah, I suppose you could put that in. Universal Genève Tricolor, yeah, that is a classic. I agree, it's a classic. Vacheron Patrimony Extra Slim, yes, of course, Vacheron's a great brand, and they've actually covered two models in Vacheron. They've got the Vacheron Patrimony, and they've also got the Toledo, which is another classic watch. So, look, I'd have to say, all balanced. There's a lot of good watches covered there, and there's just a few bullshit brands they cover, which kind of pissed me off a bit. But Colt Watches by Michael Balflour. I'm going to give this book here, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. I think it's a really, really good book, and I'm happy to have it. I'm Archie Luxury. Please tell me what you think.
Hello, my name is Lana and I am a nurse. I want to talk to you about boring YouTube channels and luxury wristwatches and other luxury goods. Are you bored of the usual boring watch reviews? Are you bored of the normal factory promotions? If so, I prescribe you Archie Luxury channel. Archie is just what the doctor ordered. Archie is a magic tonic what will make you happy and smile every day. If you keep watching Archie, you may be able to date women like me. Archie Luxury will make you a big success with beautiful girls. Я тебя люблю, Archie Luxury, и не могу жить без тебя.